Hey, what is up, my fellow horror fans? Welcome back to the channel. I am, of course, Doodleman149, and what the hell am I doing today? I am not a movie review channel. I don't do this. Well, after my wife and I went to see 28 Years Later, I had some strong opinions on it, so I figured today I'd dive into the movie. The long-awaited third chapter in Danny Boyle and Alex Garland's Rage Virus saga. This movie dropped in June of 2025, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride, equally parts thrilling, emotional, and downright weird. I've got a lot to say about this bold artistic choices, gripping story, buckets of gore, deep themes, stellar acting, gorgeous sets, and some truly bizarre story beats, including an ending that left my jaw on the floor, for better and for worse. This is a mixed review, so buckle up as we unpack this infected movie epic. There will be some spoilers in here, so be forewarned. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. But before we get into this video is sponsored by myself. That's right, in case you guys didn't know, which, let's be fair, none of you do, I have my very own merch shop over on Spreadshirt. I've got a few designs based on some stuff that I frequently say in my videos and just some other designs that I like. My personal favorite, which I'm actually wearing right now, is the True Doodle Fan shirt. The shirts are high quality, soft, and unbelievably comfortable. So if you feel like getting some good clothes and supporting your favorite small YouTuber, then why not head over there and snag something nice for yourself? You deserve it. The link is in the description. So, 28 Years Later is the follow-up to 2002's 28 Days Later, a game-changer that gave us fast-moving zombies, and 2007's 28 Weeks Later, which was okay, but not as iconic. Directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland, this one stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes, and newcomer Alfie Williams. It's set on Holy Island, a quarantine community in Northumberland where survivors have built a medieval-style society to keep the rage virus infected at bay. The story follows 12-year-old Spike, played by Williams, who ventures to the mainland with his dad Jamie to become a man and face the infected for the first time. After a harrowing chase scene, the two return to the island where Spike learns of a doctor that can help his ailing mother Isla. Sounds simple, right? Oh, it is not. This movie swings big. Sometimes it hits and sometimes it misses. Let's break it down by focusing on the stuff that you came here for. The art, the story, the gore, the message, the acting, the sets, and that wild ending. Let's start with the artistic liberties, because 28 Years Later is bold in its visual and stylistic choices. Danny Boyle shoots most of this on iPhone 15 Max Pros with custom rigs, sometimes up to 20 iPhones at once. This creates what critics call a poor man's bullet time effect, like in The Matrix, where the camera swivels around as arrows pierce zombie necks or groins. The idea, in theory, is cool, but in execution, it is just extremely jarring, and honestly ruins the immersion of the scenes. It's kinda cool the first time. Maybe. But by the fifth or sixth time, it definitely feels tedious. Thankfully, they do away with this nonsense later in the movie. It is flashy, but it pulls you out of the story. Next, there's the editing. John Harris splices in archival footage of soldiers and war poetry, like Rudyard Kipling's Boots, to mirror the characters' actions. It's a cool idea, but it feels like a music video interlude that doesn't always connect to the plot. The Boots poems worked excellently in the trailer, which makes sense as to why they then put it in the movie. But the difference is, it doesn't work in the movie at all. The poem is about soldiers marching during the Second Boer War and describes the monotony of the marching to do nothing. It's played when Spike and Jamie leave the island for the first time, and it just doesn't fit. Also, the random footage of medieval archers firing at approaching soldiers, yeah, I get the imagery and what it's going for as the islanders defend their home with bows and arrows, but it's just too artsy, it's too jarring, and again, really takes you out of the movie. On the flip side, the low light shots, painted in angry red night vision, are stunning and honestly frightening. Though, especially Spike's zombie nightmares, where his mom's in the water, it's just weird. These shots are artsy and ambitious, almost like a nature documentary to me, but unlike the random footage, these still keep you in the movie. I love that Boyle took risks, but not all of them land. Now let's get to the story. It's a coming-of-age tale wrapped in a zombie apocalypse, basically. But before we get to the actual meat of the story, the introductory scene is very reminiscent of 28 Weeks Later's opening. But whether it be that I am a parent now or the subject matter is just mostly different, this intro hits really hard. 28 Weeks Later had a gripping chase that really drove home the sense of things being fine one second and then going to complete shit the next, with some quality character building for the main survivor. But here, it opens with parents packing children into a small room in a house in the Scottish Highlands while Teletubbies plays on the TV. All the kids sit in silence watching the screen, hearing the distant commotion outside, and they know what's coming. Seeing the dread on the faces of the children was truly heartbreaking, as was the scene where the one surviving boy, named Jimmy, accidentally lets the infected in, who proceeds to either kill or infect all the other kids. Seeing as I have 2 young girls, this scene hurt me a lot. Even now writing this, and I'm sure later as I read this, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that this scene emotionally scarred me. Not only for the deaths of these fictional children, but for the absolute fucking failures their parents are. The scenes of Jimmy escaping the infected while everyone else gets killed shows the parents failing to fight the infected in literally any way. Not a single one of them has a weapon. None of them are doing anything but trying to get away. They may as well have just abandoned their children to die, which they basically did. Now, I'm not saying I could stop the infected. I'm probably cannon fodder in this situation. But you will be damn sure I'm out there on the front lines, cutting down this threat to my family. I get it's Britain, and they don't have guns, but I am good with going at them hand to hand if there is no other option and there's no way out for me. I'm not making it. That's fine. But I am not stuffing my kids in a side room to get torn to pieces later. My wife is taking them and bailing, as she should. Whew, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Anywho, tangential ranting aside, Spike's journey to save his mom is emotional and grounded, but the plot feels like 3 movies mashed together. You've got a family drama, a survival horror flick, and a philosophical meditation on death. My wife even commented that it feels like it's split into 2 halves, with the first half being a tense survival story with the dad, and then suddenly abandoning that character entirely to venture out with the mom while veering into weird mythic territory. The island setting is a fresh twist, no more empty London streets, but the shift to the mainland brings familiar zombie tropes like running from infected, last-second rescues, and a causeway chase that just kinda screams Lord of the Rings to me. Doing away with the claustrophobia of the urban environment does do some harm to the creepy factor of the film and some of the actual horror elements. One scene where Jamie and Spike first see the Alpha infected on a hill, again calls back to the intro of 28 Weeks Later and is a genuinely great sequence as the Alpha commands the lesser infected to chase the pair into an abandoned house. However, the story's biggest issue is coherence. It's kind of a collection of ideas rather than any unified vision. Characters make baffling choices, like ignoring clear dangers despite decades of living with the infected. Specifically, Ralph finds his character sedates an Alpha and doesn't kill it. This Alpha later comes back in a scene that I am positive was added in post-production, where that same Alpha almost kills him, if not for Spike. How on earth has this man survived this long if he acts like this? There's also a pregnant infected woman on the mainland. Like, how did that even happen? Did he get pregnant as an infected, or was it a pregnant lady who got infected? To me, it's heavily implied that the infected are breeding. Plus, the baby isn't infected, which makes me wonder what happens to the babies born this way. I shudder to contemplate it. It's like Garland threw in twists just to mess with us. It's ambitious, but it can feel like a rough draft. Now let's talk gore, because 28 Years Later does not hold back. This is probably the goriest entry in the series. I mean, heads are ripped off, spines are yanked out, and there's a scene where an Alpha infected swings a human head like a medieval mace, and I am not joking. The violence is brutal, but sometimes gleeful and almost comedic, like specifically in the ending, which really clashes with the film's somber tone. There is a segment that shows soldiers who got marooned on the island fighting the infected and losing, which does a decent job of showing how dangerous the infected are. But it also has these soldiers make some idiotic decisions for the sake of trying to hype up these most deadly of infected menaces. Now, while this part isn't really gore, it's more body horror, I guess. It's not even that far. But anyway, almost 30 years after initial infection, all the infected are naked. And yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect in that case. There's also 2 new types of infected in addition to the usual fast runners. There's slow-crawling slow-lows, as they call them, and the roid monster alphas that can, somehow, with one hand, rip someone's head off with their spine still attached. Disgusting. The gore shocks the first time, but it's more gross than terrifying. I mean, if you're a horror fiend, a carnage candy whore, you will eat it up, but it doesn't always serve the story. The messaging is where 28 Years Later gets deep. It's less about zombies and more about humanity's response to a crisis. The Holy Island community is a microcosm of isolationism, reflecting post-COVID Plague Island vibes, and apparently, according to what I read, Brexit-era British identity. I don't know, I am not British. There's a heavy focus on memento mori, which is Latin for remember you must die. Ralph Fiennes' character, Dr. Kelson, drops lines like there are many kinds of death, and some are better than others. It's a meditation on mortality and how we value life in a world that is numb to death. But at times, the messaging can feel heavy-handed, as a sort of don't meet your heroes theme with Jamie, which just comes out of nowhere. But it was also kind of refreshing that, for once, the mom, Isla, leaves the island. She doesn't go typical modern Hollywood girl boss, like she's an actual woman in this insane situation. It's trying to say something profound about societal collapse, but it's like the film shouting its theme through a megaphone. There's some nuance in the parent-child dynamics, I will admit. Some excellently emotional scenes as well, but the broader metaphors sometimes just whack you over the head. It's thought-provoking, but it doesn't always trust the audience to get it. The acting, though? Mwah, chef's kiss. Alfie Williams is a revelation as Spike. He's brave, yet vulnerable, threading the needle between childlike fear and a forced maturity for someone his age. He does a great job of capturing Spike's naivete and terror. Jodie Comer, which I don't think I've actually seen anything else, but she does have a big filmography, plays Isla, and she brings tenderness and vulnerability to an emotionally and physically conflicted character, making a potentially generic role feel pretty raw and pretty real. Aaron Taylor Johnson's Jamie is a complex dad, balancing machismo with paternal warmth, although he's pretty underused. He blends alpha vibes with gentleness, and I just wish we got more of him. He will be in the sequel, but I wanted more from this movie. Ralph Fiennes is excellent as Dr. Kelson, a quirky survivalist who's as mystical as you'd expect from someone who's a former Harry Potter actor. Even his line of "the magic of the placenta" is on the nose. It's ridiculous in context, but it fits his character very well. The cast grounds the film's wild swings, making the emotional bits hit a lot harder. The sets themselves are gorgeous. Holy Island's rugged beauty with its windswept cliffs, its tidal causeway, it feels like a character in itself, which, yes, is a cliche, I know, but it does. The iPhone cinematography, with all my gripes about Apple, the cameras are good. It captures the British countryside splendor in a sharp contrast to 28 Days Later's grimy London. The island's medieval vibe with bows and arrows feels like a step back in time, reinforcing the isolationist theme. Then there's a haunting sculpture garden of human remains on the mainland. The production design sells the post-apocalyptic world without much exposition. The world reveals itself through action and visuals, not heavy dialogue. The only downside? Some mainland sets feel pretty generic, like every other zombie wasteland, but overall the visuals are a feast, making every frame pop. Now, for the bizarre story beats and that ending. This movie loves to throw curveballs at you. As I previously mentioned, there is a pregnant infected woman. Again, how? Why? It is never explained. But it's made even stranger by the fact that Isla initially plays midwife to this infected woman as she gives birth. They save the baby, but soon after the birth, the mom goes back to being her feral infected mentality and tries to kill her. Then there's Dr. Kelson polishing skulls with a 1,000-yard stare. I mean, it's weird, but poignant. The film itself shifts from family drama to horror to philosophical musings. It's like Boyle and Garland just could not pick a lane. And that ending. Oh boy, that was fucking stupid. There's a callback to earlier in the movie, but the actual action of the ending honestly brought the entire experience down for my wife and I. No spoilers, but it is bonkers. It's also tonally jarring, like stumbling into a different movie. It sets up the sequel 28 years later at the Bone Temple, which has already been made and is coming out in January, so there's nothing to worry about with having this ending not be built upon, but it feels so goofy that it undercuts the film's emotional weight. Like, I can't unsee it, just like the opening. It's bold, but that's about the best I can say about it, since it really left me scratching my head. So what's my verdict? 28 Years Later is a fascinating mess. The acting is top tier, the sets are stunning, and the gore delivers for horror fans. The message about mortality and society is deep but heavy-handed. The story's uneven, the artistic liberties can distract from the actual movie, and the bizarre story beats and the ending do not land. It's not the masterpiece 28 Days Later was, and it's a bold step up from 28 Weeks Later in some areas. but even comparing it is a little unfair, as it almost doesn't entirely feel like a horror movie. Personally, I'm giving it like a 5 out of 10. It's good, but it's flawed, with a lot of untapped potential and hype that it did not live up to. I'd still say check out 28 Years Later in theaters, and let's talk about the sequel when that drops in January, provided this video does well, but it just wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. And so what did you think, dear viewer? Did the ending blow your mind or just confuse you? Drop a comment to let me know what you thought. I'd also really like to thank my loyal Patreon patron Zane Tor for his continued support and for giving me hope that maybe this YouTube thing will work out. If you want to help me on this little journey of mine, though, don't forget to snag yourself something comfy and cool from a merch store. Join Zane Tor as a Patreon patron, gain access to exclusive videos, or become a YouTube channel member for other perks. I'd again like to thank you all for being here. You've been amazing, and remember to like, share, subscribe, all that regular YouTube nonsense that no one ever does. And be kind to yourself, because some days you may be the only one who is. I have been Doodleman149, you have been awesome, and until next time, I will see you later.